right, you're damn right, everybody. Welcome to the HooperCast. It is I, Hooper, and it's he, Dustin.
I am he.
He is. What is the thing? I've screwed that up. I don't know. It's like I am. It's like I am yours and you're mine or something. But is that like one thing or is that just a quote?
I was thinking like I am the walrus. I am he as you are me.
Oh no, yeah. Mine's like a weird like marriage thing. It's like I am yours and you are mine, but it's like it's from like Braveheart maybe. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, well, it's from the beginning of Dustin's month for sure, Mr. Newlywed. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Indeed. So obviously we're back, and if you watched the last episode, you know where we've been for most of the month. We've been busy, and we've been going through big life stages.
Yes.
So
this is true.
And I've been watching lots of movies.
Yes, this is also true.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so have you, Dustin.
Yeah, I've watched a few.
Yeah, so I dropped a few comedy specials on you guys on the last one, so it is Dustin's turn to unload what he has seen.
Okay.
Half of one, which I have seen, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the other.
Okay.
So you can jump in at the end, and it's not like I'll just talk forever at the end. I will start with 2016's Queen of Katwe, which is a Disney film. So it is directed by Mira Nair. Mira Nair. That's how I'm going to say that. So Mira Nair directed this film. It seems like she came from Indian filmmaking. So she's done some Bollywood productions, and then now she's over here working for Disney. And Queen of Katwe is the story of a young Ugandan girl who is a prodigy at chess, and so is afforded some opportunities that her peers there in Uganda that they would not normally be afforded. And so she is able to sort of work her way out of the slums there in Uganda. This is based on a true story. The character's name is Fiona, and so Fiona is a real person, and they do this cool thing which I've never seen for a biopic like this. In the end credits, make sure you stick around for those. Typically in a biopic they'll have like, and here's what this character is doing now, kind of thing. And they actually have the actor standing side by side with the real character, or the real person. And so I think that's super cool. Allows you to kind of see that the film has the support of the actual people that lived the story. And it's kind of cool to see. So yeah, here's what I'll say about this, and this is still fresh for me. So this is going to be a little bit fly by the seat of your pants. It's not super prepared, but Queen of Katwe is a good film. It's a weird mixed bag. It's like part of it is very well directed, part of it isn't, and it just kind of like jumps back and forth. And I'm not sure if there were days where they were rushing to get done, or if the care was on something else. Like we're gonna work with the actors today, but the visuals kind of suffered a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what the case is, but it does feel a little bit jumpy in that way to me. The actors all do a great job. We have a few people here that you might know, Lupita Nyong'o, and I'm going to try this, David Oyelowo. Is that how you say that name?
David Oyelowo.
Oh, okay. Oyelowo.
Yeah.
So
it's easier than you would think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Didn't he play Martin Luther King? Wasn't that him in Selma?
He did in Selma,
okay.
Yeah. So both of them great, fantastic actors. And, this is a really good film for them. They're both able to play these really strong characters and in many ways, maybe the most fleshed out characters in the film. To me, this is an example of, if you're screenwriting, if you're trying to pay attention to building character and making sure that your characters are relatable and making sure that your characters are likable and making sure that the audience is rooting for your characters, this is sort of an example of sometimes you can know about your character without actually knowing your character. So for me, the main character here, Fiona, I felt like I knew a lot about her. You know, I knew her family. I knew where she came from. I knew what she wanted. I knew what kind of school she went to or lack thereof. I knew what she did for a living. I knew how she helped her family. And I knew all of these things. But there was just something missing where I feel like I didn't know her. I don't think it was a fault of the young actress who plays Fiona. I think it's a fault of the writing. The screenplay is written by William Wheeler, and it is based on an ESPN magazine article, which was written about Fiona. So to me, it just feels a little bit flat. Like I said, I know about her, but I don't really know her. And certainly it's a weird scenario because I do know what her goals are. I do know where she wants to go. But I still had a hard time kind of being truly empathetic to her. I think it's because the bulk of the time it feels more like we're seeing this through the eyes of the adult characters, Lupita and David, as opposed to this young girl. And so I feel like maybe just the way that the screenplay is structured, the way that the film is structured, we're watching this, as an adult looking down, as opposed to POV from Fiona's eyes, which is how we'd want to look at this, because the protagonist is essentially who we have to root for. It's a really strange conundrum that you feel like you know somebody, but you don't know, or you know about them, but you don't know them. And what it ends up doing is it creates a movie that on paper works. It creates a movie that at the end, when things, either work out or they don't. I'm not going to spoil that for you. But whether they work out or they don't, what's at stake, what's going to happen. But you feel detached from it. You feel like you are a spectator and not a partaker. And so for me, that's what happened here. Not a bad film, not a terrible film at all. And it's not that it's not enjoyable. I do think it's a little long, but I don't think it's, I didn't get caught up in it. And in fact, it was those characters played by Lupita Nyong'o and David Oyelowo. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. That they are the characters that I found myself identifying with most, rooting for most, and loving the most. And I think that's because that's where the screenplay took us. So yeah, it's one of those strange movies where the protagonist is playing second fiddle. It's a good movie. I would recommend it. It is on Netflix. So if you have a couple of hours to kill, it is, I think, 2 hours, 4 minutes, something like that. So if you have some time to kill, it's not a waste of your time. It's a good story. Like I said, I think there are people out there that really are kind of, they really enjoy these based on a true story kind of movies. I like those. So if you're one of those people and you just really want to see something that is real, obviously it's Hollywoodized, but something that's real, then for sure check this out. But I think that it just kind of scratches the surface. And I think if you want something deep, and maybe it's because it's a Disney movie, but I think because, if you want something deep, you're just going to want to go elsewhere, because this movie is very surface level. And like I said, you never really get to feel like you're a participant in what the main character, what our protagonist is going through. And it keeps you at an arm's length. So would I recommend it? Yes, if you have some time to kill and if you don't mind killing it in this way. Is this something that I feel like you have to see? No, it's not important viewing. It's not something that is going to change your life, and it's probably not something that you're going to rush out and buy on DVD. So for that reason, I would say, it's sort of a mixed bag, but I'll say, it's fine. It's, that 3-star rating. If you're in the mood for it, watch it. If you never are in the mood for it, you're not missing anything. So yeah, that's Queen of Katwe. It's a movie that came and went, and it felt like nobody really saw this, but it does have a 93, if I'm not mistaken, on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you like Rotten Tomatoes numbers, there you go. But yeah, so yeah, see it if you want to. If you don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I'd heard of Queen of Katwe, and then like I think I did see like strange little featurettes from it on the Disney Channel. I remember thinking like, what are we talking about? What is this? Like,
right.
So yeah, that's interesting because I didn't connect the dots. It was a Disney film before. I just thought, I don't know what I thought.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it came and went. It was like, I remember seeing a little bit of buzz about it right before it came out, and then it was just gone.
Yeah.
It never really popped up again. It's a couple years old now. But I've never heard anybody talk about it. I've never heard anybody in real life say like, oh, have you ever seen that? Or, maybe they will now that it's on Netflix, but yeah, I haven't heard anything about it. So I went in completely blind.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. What about and I saw that on there was actually a selection on the cruise ship. God, I'm an idiot. All right.
It's all good.
Interesting. Produced by Walt Disney Pictures and ESPN Films.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know ESPN had ESPN Films.
I didn't either, but they do.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. You had another one, right?
Yes. So I also saw Paddington. This is the first Paddington. From 2014. Paddington is about a young bear who travels from his Peruvian home to London. He and his bear aunt and uncle, he's a little bit like Spider-Man in that he lives with his aunt and uncle, have always raised him to want to go to London, and he finally gets the opportunity and stows away in a boat and ends up here. Wow, I'm not in London. Ends up in London.
You wish.
Yeah, right. Ends up in London and tries to find a home. He believes he will be able to be adopted and given a loving home, so he is looking for that. That's really about as deep as the plot is. It's just, hey, I got to find a home, and it turns out there's an old explorer who came to Peru, and his aunt and uncle met this man, and so part of the film tries to figure out where that man went when he came back to London. Maybe he'll give me a home. So there's a little bit of like a side quest there, but it's all under the same banner of I need to find a home. The film stars Sally Hawkins, who you may know from The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
And the voice of Paddington is Ben Whishaw, who, of course, I know as Q from the newer James Bond films. And it also has Julie Walters in it. So if you love Miss Weasley, she's there. Michael Gambon is a voice in the film. And there's just a ton of other people in here, not to mention Nicole Kidman. I
love Nicole Kidman. She's one of those actresses that I'll watch in almost anything just because I find her, like, first of all, she's very beautiful, but I find her voice like just so incredibly calming.
Yeah.
And or like sexy, you know what I mean? Like she just, I don't know. Right. She's just one of those classically beautiful actresses that I think just, I don't know what it is. She's just really watchable.
Well, I think she's sort of the last in the vein of like actresses that, I don't want to say the last,
sure, but
among the last of the movie star. Right.
Yeah.
So I think she still falls in that era of like, hey, I'm a movie star.
Yeah.
And then
you said that so like, I'm a movie star.
I'm ready for my close up. But there's also Peter Capaldi. So I feel like you might find
he was in Paddington.
Yeah, he's in Paddington.
Did you scream curse words at him?
I don't know who he is other than that he is Doctor Who or the Doctor or whatever, however that show works.
There's that movie called In the Loop that James Gandolfini was in, and that was based on some other previous work that this character Malcolm Tucker was a part of, and he just spends that whole movie just running around like, scheming and just cursing. And so when you're like, oh, he's in Paddington, I'd picture him as being some angry neighbor who who calls Anyway.
Well, you're not far off. He is an angry neighbor.
Oh, okay.
So obviously there are some villains here, so he's one of those. Paddington is very British. And by that I mean it's unapologetically British. It's not trying to pander to be, some sort of Hollywood version of England.
Yeah.
I mean, this feels like it just was ripped from the BBC. So it is it's British. And I love that. So it's also very cute. I think kids will really enjoy Paddington. Like I said, it's from 2014, so maybe your kids have already seen this, Hoop. I'm not sure, but
to a degree.
To a degree.
I have vague memory. I don't think I've seen the film all the way through, but the kids might have seen it. This is on Netflix,
Gotcha.
right? It's where you watched it.
It is on Netflix.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason I watched it. The reason I watched it is because Paddington 2 is currently at a 99 on Rotten Tomatoes. It was at 100% until, that one critic who wants to make a name for himself decides to give it a bad review. But
Just a hate on Paddington.
I know. Right?
I must take down Paddington.
What are you going to get out of life for hating on Paddington? But Paddington
there was lots of hugging bear. He's the one who gave it a bad review.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, Paddington's good. Like, I can't really say anything bad about it. Like, it feels a little television-ish to me, but that's not a bad thing. TV's good these days, so it's just an observation. Yeah. What I can say is that there are some weird things about Paddington in terms of its filmmaking. To me, it felt a little like I don't know what the frame rate was for the film, but it didn't feel like 24. So it feels a little strange, a little too like motion refresh sometimes. The vis effects kind of. I don't know. It does tend to happen when there are more vis effects in a shot. So I don't know if it's just whatever's going on with the vis effects or whatever the case is. But look, here's the deal. This is a film for kids. It's a film that adults can watch without feeling like they're being pandered to or like there's just a gross amount of like fart jokes or like, gross out humor. It's just like a bear making like weird idioms into actual like things and taking things seriously, not understanding sarcasm. For example, there's like he goes to like an escalator at one point and there's a sign that says dogs must be carried. So he goes and finds a dog to carry it down the escalator because he thinks he can't enter the escalator without a dog. Not that like if you have one it has to be carried, but like I have to go get one. So it's weird. It's little things like that, and it's kind of funny.
Like the security guards could be like, "Excuse me, sir, where's your dog?"
Right. So he like goes and steals a dog from a guy so he can go down the escalator.
Wow.
But yeah, man, look, it's Paddington. It's a fun movie that isn't gonna kill your brain cells to watch it.
Yeah.
It's one that is sweet and has a great message of family and that home is something that. Home is something that you can give to people. It's not just a place where you hunker down and say like, this is my home, but it's something that you can extend and you can take home to the people that need home. And you can take family to the people who need family. And I think that's a great message. In this film, the father, Sally Hawkins' husband here, played by Hugh Bonneville, is reluctant at first to adopt or even let a bear stay at his home. So there's hints of like, is this like a metaphor for like, racial segregation or whatever the case is. It never really goes that far. I feel like a lot of movies today would, and they'd be like, I'm gonna beat you over the head with a racial message now. But not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying like that's where I thought this was gonna go, and it didn't go there. So to me that was kind of like, it's like this is not like they're not even really saying anything other than like, here's a sweet world where people love people and people love animals, and there's just one little grumpy guy who needs to, you know, have love in his heart, right? And so it's this weird, like, I don't know, utopian London. It's this weird utopian world where there just doesn't seem to be any other problems other than, like, you know, talking bears. So, you know, look, Paddington's a good film. It's something that I would recommend above and beyond Queen of Katwe. It's something that, you know, probably gets 3.5, maybe 4 stars, more like 3.5. But it's definitely it's definitely a good use of your time. And if you're looking for something sweet, and if you're looking for something easy to digest, Paddington is there with his blue raincoat and his red hat to kind of lull you into a sense of safety. And just props to Ben Whishaw for, you know, giving Paddington this calming voice that to me, like, the only thing I can describe it as is like, and I didn't watch a lot of this as a kid, but like Thomas the Tank Engine, you know how like all the voices on Thomas were like, and then they went to a place, and it's like really like whispery but like calm. Like that's the only way I can describe what Ben Whishaw does here for Paddington. But it's easy to watch and easy to take. So, yeah, if you're looking for something to just have on, there you go. Paddington's your bear. Hooper, you there? Have I been talking to nothing? Hooper, you there? Oh, no. All right, everybody. Well, Hooper's computer reboots because it crashed out of nowhere. I'll just sign off and say thank you for listening to the HooperCast. I'm Dustin. Hooper is with us in spirit, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Find me, Dustin. Find me.